Hello, this is Gemma from the Crafty Little Gem and thanks for joining me today. I am an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based here in the UK and we are making a box today that will house a pretty little card and you can put a present underneath it. I have destroyed the box that I made first because I couldn't remember my measurements. But here we go again. I've quickly jotted a few bits down and we'll get started. So you will need a piece of 12 by 10. And on all four sides, we are scoring at 1/2 inch and 3 inches. So 1/2 inch and 3, 1/2 inch and 3, 1/2 inch, 3, 1/2 inch and 3. We'll get that out the way. That's the base of the card. You will need 2 pieces that measure 6 by 5 and 2 pieces that measure 4 by 5. These are going to help. These are what you're going to sit the card on top, sorry. I've done the score lines on this one already. Again, I couldn't remember. So on the 5 inch side, we are going to score at 1/2 inch, 2 1/4, 2 3/4 and 4 1/2. So 2 3/4, 4 1/2. We'll have 2 of them. And then again on the 5 inch side, 1/2 inch, 2 1/4, 2 3/4 and 4. So I've just copied that one and thrown it across the floor. 2 3/4 and 4. And then we're coming up, doesn't matter what side we do it on because we've both got 1/2 inch at the top and the bottom. 1/2 inch down to that second score line, 5 1/2 down to the second score line, as though you're building up a shadow box. Okay, we'll get those out of the way for now. We'll do the lid in a bit. So we're going to build the base of our card. So fold and burnish on all of the score lines. There is no DSP in this box whatsoever except for when it comes to making the card, which will be the next time. So what we're going to do is we're going to have the long side towards us and we are going to chop down that side there. We're going to take a wedge out of there. I'm going to cut straight on that score line there, removing the score line and cutting that bit off there and just wedging that out slightly there. I'm going to do the same on this side. So we are cutting the score line away. Cutting straight there, wedging that bit out and cutting that score line away. We're going to mirror this on this side, so straight down, cutting a wedge out, cutting that score line away, wedging out there, cutting that off bit there and wedging there. Last corner, straight down, wedging, cutting that bit off there, and don't forget the little wedge on that side there. So we can start building the box up. Grab your liquid adhesive and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere both of them short edges in. So they are out of the way. I'm going to then apply glue on the outside and bring the bigger side in. I'm going to add glue to both of the larger flaps at the same time. I'm going to bring that one in, and I'm going to bring that one in. I'm going to turn it over and just check that I haven't got anything going over this top score line here. I'm just going to add a little bit of liquid glue. Sorry, it's really dark in here again, isn't it? And then I'm just going to fold that over. And that's just going to clean up that top edge where the card is going to sit. And obviously with this card as well, you can have quite a bit of dimension to it. For this box. So I'm going to add a little bit of liquid adhesive to that side there as well. And then you can bring it in on this last side. Slide. Look at it. And then just adhere that down. And you've got some nice corners there. And again, that's just tidied that top bit up where you are going to see through. So that's a really nice base for your box. We're going to bring in the side bits. The smaller ones are really quite easy. You're just going to fold and burnish. And then we can pop those out of the way. These ones we can fold and burnish, and we've just got a little bit of cutting away to do on these side bits. And just bring our scissors in, and just like creating a shadow frame, we're going to cut down the partial score line that we did and outwards. Okay, so down that partial score line, taking the score line out, and then from that corner out. So that's what we should be left with. We're going to do the same on the other one, cutting the score line away. And then if you feel that it's easier, you can come from that side and snip inwards. So that is what you should have. We're going to bring the box back in, and what we're actually going to do is start on the larger sections, because we want them to be glued to the bottom and to this side, and they want to be a snug fit. Okay, so that's what we're using. You're going to fold the bottom bit in, take it in, make sure the bottom is right in here. Then you can actually fold flat that side there. Don't glue that down as yet. You can do the same on the other side. I'm not going to take the glue too high up on that side like I did on the other one. Get your hand in and get it in that corner again. And on that side. So we have glued to the side and to the bottom. You want your other two little pieces. You're going to put a little bit of liquid glue on one side and, sorry, on the back section. We're going to pull them two apart and pop that in, and it will be snug. You want it to be snug. And then just checking that that's going to go over. Making sure it will, and it will. Okay. Check that side will go in. If you need to snip a bit off, snip a bit off. It's fine. That one's fine. These two smaller ends are easier to adjust than the ones that are angled, and we're just going to do exactly the same. Pop that in. And make sure that that's flat on that back as well. As that one. These two smaller sides are going to go in first. So fold it over. Make sure that other bit's down. Like so. Again, fold that bit over. Make sure that sits flat. In there. We can add a little bit of adhesive on there, and this time just in them two corners. And we can bring that side over and down. And we're just going to do exactly the same on this side. Fold it in half. Oh, pushed it in a bit too much. And just straight down. Make sure all the sides are flat. And that's the base of your box. So you can put your present inside here, and then your card will actually sit flat on that bit, so we can pop that out the way. So your card base, your card lid, sorry, this needs to measure 8 1/16 by 6 1/16. You need the 16ths just because you need a little bit of a bigger lid. The inside colour, so on this one mine is the greeny. This one's pink. This is 5.5 by 3 3/4. On your lid, you are going to score at 1 inch on all 4 sides. Before we take it to the die cutting machine, you're going to lay over the insert colour that you have, and you're going to try and get that as central as you can. You're then going to take 2 rectangle dies. You want the smallest one to cut first. After you've cut the smallest one out, take away your coloured layer and your small die. Bring in the next one up. You will have a rectangle cut out of this already. Layer this on top to frame. You'll have a little bit on the inside, sorry. So get it central as you can and then cut just the lid with the larger one. That is how you get your layers. Okay, so I'm going to go off and do that now. I'll show you before we start putting everything together, and I'll see you in a bit. Hello, so I just wanted to show you again of what I've just done. So this is how I put it through the die cutting machine. So I die cutted my pink layer first. So I have the smallest die and a larger border that can go out the way. I then brought the next die in that goes larger than that one. And I had that. I then centered that. So I had my die bit in the middle. Let me see if I can just, can you see that bit there was just die cut. I then put that through so I could take the 2 pieces away. There. So you've got a frame and then another bit. So that can go, and that's what I left with. These are the 2 that you want to be using. Okay. So fold and burnish now on all of your score lines. You will need a piece of acetate. I have just a strip here that I will cut down to the size of this. I'm going to lay this on, adhere it on, and then I'm just going to cut off the excess there. Can you see? But we are going to cut and wedge our corners to create our lid. And as most people know, I like to keep this side straight. Wedge it in by all means. It just helps me, again, line everything up. Okay. And because... Oh, what side's that going round? There we go. Snip that off. What I'm actually going to do before anything, because that is actually going to go in there and how I want it to. Make sure you get how you put it in your die cutter. So that's what I will get with mine today. However, I want this layer to go on top here, so that is smooth all the way across. Okay, and it will actually cover up the acetate on the back here. So I'm going to put tape all around this back, all around this top bit, sorry. Making sure it is to the outside more, because you're going to see this inside. I just want 2 little pieces for the ends. Again, this is right side up. Like so. So if you're going to cut your acetate, it needs to be 5 3/4 by 3 3/4. And that will fit on top. Push that bit in, it was a bit of overhang there. And take that off. I'm then gonna, this is where your glasses wipes come in use. If you've got any bits on your acetate, because glasses wipes aren't that wet, you just go over it. Oh. With some of that, and I'm going to try and line up the bottom first and then the top, and I can always cut away around the edge, and that did line up really quite well. So I'm just going to come in with my scissors. This is not thick acetate at all. And just trim that away. That is going to then sit on top, so I need a thinner tape this time. And again, I'm just going to add this right to the edge. All the way around. And it's easy to do this while it's flat. But you need to make sure you've got it in this space and you've also got it level. So we'll tape all that off. I'm going to line that up there. And then I'm going to see if I can get my head and just tack it down. That's not right. Let's do that again. See if I can get that more into the middle. That will do for me. So as long as it's not on your scored edges and you can bring them in, you'll be absolutely fine. So I'm going to bring in my liquid adhesive again, which is the Tombow. And I'm going to do the two longer edges first and just bring those in nice and even. Bring in the base of your box. I'm going to pop that on and bring them over and round and check that everything will fit, and it should. So I'm happy with that. Glue your corners in. Squish them down like so, and that is your box done. So I'll just grab the card that I made before. That will sit on top there with quite a bit of dimension using the flower dies that we have, and that is what it will look like when put in the blues and the pinks when we do the card. And then you get a nice little gift underneath in this section here. Okay, so thank you very so much, everybody. Hope you join me next time, so I'll be making the card, and I shall see you soon. Bye bye for now.